Hi, my name is Kyle Marshall. I teach a number of the courses here at Point Blank, and today we're going to explore how to use Ableton in order to create some generative systems that'll help create melodies for our music. All right, so for in Ableton, I'm going to go ahead and highlight a region on the grid and insert a new MIDI clip. For this tutorial today, I'm going to be using a contact piano. The gentleman is what we're going to be using, but any instrument will work fine for this principle. So our first step is going to be to open up our MIDI clip. We're going to insert a single 16th note. We're going to hit legato on that 16th note to make sure that it's stretching out all the way across the grid. And then we're going to hit Command E. Now that will chop our single note into notes that reflect whatever grid value we have set up. Right now you can see the top right-hand corner of my screen, I have 16th notes set up. So that's what we're going to end up with here. So right now what we have is just a very static piano note occurring over and over again. That's not very useful to us at this point in time. So what we're going to want to do is highlight all these notes. We're going to randomize the velocity in order to get variation in how hard the piano note is hit. We're also going to go down here to chance. We're going to click on chance and we're going to hit randomize once again. That will now give us some variation so we don't just have consistent 16th notes playing the whole time. Our next steps are going to be the aspects of this tutorial that are actually the generative side of creating this melody. So I'm going to hit Command F, I'm going to type in scale, and then I'm going to go over to scale in our browser window, and I'm going to drag that down to device view right here. I'm going to go ahead and double check the key I'm in just to make sure that I set this up correctly. And okay. Let's go now to E flat minor. In our scale, we're going to set E flat or D sharp, and then we're going to set a minor, or we can just do minor pentatonic. So what this is going to do is restrict any MIDI note that is played to be within this scale. So in other words, we could actually play any note on the MIDI roll, and even if it is out of key, it will end up being fixed and placed into the correct key. So our next step is to hit Command F and type in random. I'm going to take random and I'm going to drag random down to the left of scale. So now I'm going to increase the chance to be 100%. So now every time a MIDI note is played, it will be randomly selected and placed within the scale. I'm going to bring the interval up to 2. I'm going to leave choices as the default setting of 12 for now. I'm going to leave mode at random, and sign is going to be left as add. So now if we go ahead and listen to this. You can see that our single 16th note that was previously just playing that C is actually playing notes within the E flat minor pentatonic scale with varied velocity and varied chance. I'm going to go ahead and highlight these notes and once again randomize the chance of them happening. Now chance determines if a note is going to be played or not. If the MIDI note is at 100% value, that means there's a 100% chance that it's going to be played. If it's at 0, that means that note will never be played. And chance is going to be independent, so that means one note's value, the probability does not affect the next or the previous one. So now we've got some random melodies that are being generated for us. I'm going to go ahead and turn this piano down a bit, but it still feels, very much like computer music, which is fine, but we want to add a bit of groove, a bit of humanization to this idea here. So what I have here are some drums that I've already grooved, and I've used a stock groove within Ableton called Swing MPC 3016ths 61. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that Swing MPC 3016ths 61, and that should be loaded up in my groove pool. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit Command F and type in the title of that groove, double click on it, it'll open up your groove pool. If you don't see that, hit Command Option 6 on your keyboard and that will pop it open for you there. We're going to click on our MIDI clip again or hit Command Option 3, and once I have all my notes highlighted, I go over to the Grooves tab underneath Clip. Click Swing MPC 3016ths 61. For this tutorial, I'm actually going to go up to the global amount, which is usually by default set to 100%, and we're going to actually increase that to 130%. And this is just going to further exaggerate that groove. At a tempo of 122 BPM, I find that that exaggerated groove does actually sound really compelling, and it's not too grooved, if you will. So now we can apply this groove to the MIDI. And you can hear that we've got a grooved melody. This material that we have right now isn't quite yet usable. So what I'm going to do is insert an audio track and put it in my piano group and title it print. So what I'm going to do is print this MIDI to audio. One of the drawbacks to using generative systems is that once they play what they're playing, that will never happen again, right? So we want to open up audio and be recording our MIDI while we're working on it. So in the print track underneath external input, I'm going to go select the gentleman, and that will now be recording. Our audio as it is played. So one more thing we can do in order to create more interest in this generative melody is hit Command F, type in note length. Now if I take note length and drop it down in between random and in between scale, we can actually mess with the length, the release, if you will, of these notes. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that. You see when I have reduced the note length to a number that is shorter, like 10 milliseconds, it feels a lot tighter. And when I increase it, the notes hang around a bit longer. So what we can do is actually right-click on note length, and in certain sections of this, we can actually go ahead and automate the note length to increase from about 15 I suppose will be our starting point, and our ending point will be, let's go ahead and put it at like 80 milliseconds. Let's just see how that sounds. And I'm going to be doing this in regions where I think that the other materials that I have in my song will also be increasing in decay. So I'm just going to do it like that. Increasing in note length, therefore increasing in decay or release. So let's go ahead and we're going to listen to this again, and as I'm doing so, I'm going to make sure it's recording. Cool, so we've got some stuff there. The next part of this is going to be duplicating this audio track. We're going to now turn off our generative system because we have a melody already printed, right? And what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut out a couple of these different parts, solo them. So we've got a good one right there. Nice, so you can see we've kind of got an A, B right there. We've got another one we can work with right there. And then what I usually like to do is just duplicate these, and taking this audio, just start messing around with them. So I'll reverse this one and I will divide it by 2. It's a little too wild for me. I want to slow that down. Cool, I actually like that. I'm going to decrease the reversed print. And I'll go ahead and reverse this one as well. And then we'll reverse this final one. Ooh, so I actually really liked this part. So I'm going to go ahead and loop this. Cool. So what I'm actually going to do, and this is kind of the process that I follow when I'm using these, is I print these out, then chop them up, and then we kind of see what the main melody can be, what sort of some of the texture layers can be, and then we're going to go and add that to our drums and our bass. Cool, and I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this again. We're going to pitch this one. Let's try pitching this one up fifth. A little too high for my liking, so we're going to go down. Cool, I think that this is going to be good enough for now. So what we can do is grab this melody that we have here, and let's go put it in context with some drums. I've got these drums here. Just a nice hi-hat, simple sort of melodic house pattern. And we've also got a sidechain set up at the top of this project. If you're curious as to how I set my sidechains up, go check out the other sidechain tutorial video that we've got on the channel. And I'm going to go ahead and take a compressor and throw that on to piano track. We're going to turn sidechain on, turn the EQ off. Input from the sidechain is that utility. Decreasing the threshold so I can actually get that pumping effect that we want. And I kind of want to further edit this melody. And kind of, I want to get an A-B. Let's see if we can. Perfect. So there we've left some space at the end of the phrase so it doesn't feel like it's literally looping every single bar. We've got a little bit of variation now. And then maybe on this one we can actually cut it and let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and turn the reverse off. And now we have about 4-bar phrase. Cool, so let's go and see how this sounds in context with the rest of our drums. But yeah, that is how we can use generative systems within Ableton in order to create melodies without actually ever playing them or ever having to sequence them in. I find this technique to be really fun and really useful, and it can also be very surprising. So I therefore think that when you're using it to make music on a computer, it can actually feel like you're very connected with the audio itself. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'd also recommend checking out the Point Blank Music School website. Thanks for watching.